Welcome back. Today I have a very special lady on with me, and she has such a powerful story. Nicole Gebhardt, she is a wife, a mom. She has suffered several miscarriages and the unthinkable, especially as a mom, to think of losing her 9-week-old son, Samuel. Nicole is a national speaker and advocate for women's empowerment and loss recovery and best-selling author. And I'm just so blessed to have her on the show with me today. Welcome, Nicole.
Oh, thank you so much for having me today.
I don't know. I think the internet is just such an interesting place. I don't even know how we crossed paths, but we became friends on Facebook, and every day you comment something on one of my posts, and
Oh,
you're just such a light. You brighten my day and just make me feel good. And knowing your story and that you could be somebody who could just be so upset and angry and carry that with you. And the fact that you just bring such joy and just empowerment to women. I'm just so excited for you to share your story today.
thank you. I feel so blessed to have been able to turn so much pain into purpose and now get to help so many other women do the same. That is my heart. That is my passion. I think that's why I just am so happy at this point, knowing of everything that I've had to overcome to get to where I am today.
I think that's so special because I think that, it's very easy to get caught up in it and not even just situational, just the mind, depression, anxiety, all of these things that your average person suffers with just from life, just from existing in 2026 with all of these things being thrown at us and trying to just keep up with technology and just wearing all of the hats as a mom, a wife, a worker, all these things. And what you endured in your life just, I mean, I can't even imagine as a mother, you know, dive into your story. Talk about just start from the beginning. Start from what made you, where was your transition? I read your
Right.
book, and for everybody listening, first of all, I'm going backwards. I started with the last book that Nicole wrote, A Queen Saves Herself, which was absolutely amazing. Everybody should read it. Every woman should read it. It's so empowering. But where did this all start? Where did you turn your grief into purpose?
Absolutely. So I've experienced a lot. We all have a story. Mine started when I was a 4-year-old little girl. I was molested by my own father from ages 4 to 7. When I told him I was going to tell on him, he said I was not worthy or good enough for anyone to ever believe me or for anyone to ever love me. And those words, worthy and enough, stuck with me for a long, long, long time. I went off to Florida State University. I wanted to get so far away from home. And then my freshman year, I was raped by a group of fraternity brothers. It was an off campus party. I was ejaculated on and urinated on for hours. And I was a virgin at the time. So I also had my virginity stolen from me. And that as well just impacted so much of my life. I felt so powerless and so used, and once again, unworthy and unlovable. I went off to marry who I thought was going to be my forever person. We ended up having a miscarriage pretty early on in our relationship. And then the unfathomable happened when we did get pregnant again. And then it was my first day back from maternity leave. I walked into my 9-week-old son's nursery and I found Samuel lifeless in his crib. I placed my son on the floor, tried to breathe life back into him, giving him CPR, but my mama heart knew he was already gone. When the first responders arrived at our home, I was treated like a criminal. I was shoved into a bedroom. I wasn't even allowed to tell my son goodbye. I had to give a statement to the police. Then I had to plan a funeral. And my husband at the time ended up running to drugs and became very abusive, emotional, mental, psychological, physical, and sexual. We had another miscarriage. And then one day, after we had birthed two more children, I walked into the bathroom while he was abusing our 2-year-old in the tub, grabbed her out of the bathtub, grabbed my 1-year-old out of his crib. I was pregnant at the time, 7 months pregnant, grabbed my belly, and we ran for our lives. I had no clue how I was going to keep a roof over our heads, food on the table. I was working every single second just to keep the lights on. We were on food stamps, WIC, you name it, but I was bound and determined to do it. It was that point that I wanted to break the cycle. Unfortunately, I went through another rape again and I lost myself. This time I did not tell a soul because when I told people the first time, they didn't believe me. They said, well, you were drinking and you were wearing a dress and this and that. So when it happened again, I started drinking heavily. I became addicted to over the counter drugs. I was prescribed drugs after my Samuel died, and I continued to, they just increased the dosage they were giving me. So it became that instead of true healing. So, October 15th, 2019, it was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day. I had decided I did not want to live any longer without my three children that died, so I tried to commit suicide. I ended up falling down two flights of stairs. My husband now, he found me at the bottom. He said I was barely breathing, barely responding. So he called 911. When the first responders got me to the hospital, the doctors in the emergency room said I wasn't going to survive. I had a brain bleed, a brain contusion. I was 5 times the legal limit of alcohol. Well, after a week in the ICU, I did survive. And when I woke up in that bed, I saw my son and I heard him say to me, Mommy, I do not want you to be so depressed, so anxious, PTSD, insomnia. I want you to live your life. So, in that moment, I got clean, I got sober, and I started doing all the hard work and I turned that pain into purpose. I feel so blessed and honored. I just celebrated 6 years of sobriety. I have created numerous number one bestsellers helping other women who've experienced rape, abuse, infant loss, miscarriage, addiction. And I now get to serve women all over the world sharing my story. And I continue to share one because I want women to know they're not alone. And two, I want women to know that you can literally walk through hell, but still come out on top and still live that life you've always wanted to live. We are all worthy of that.
And I think that is the message in your book. Reading and just feeling, just so, I can't imagine, I just can't imagine walking through all that you did. And I feel so, as I read your book, just looking at all of the things in life that get you down, and you can let them get you down, and you can stay down, or you can get back up and keep going. And I think that when I look at at what you went through, and I can't, again, I can't even wrap my head around it. I think that you are so courageous. And I mean, just your energy, you just, I think sometimes when people go through these things in life, when they have the worst of the worst happen to them, it's almost like a wake-up call. It's almost like a
Mhm.
shift where
Mhm.
you're exemplary, like your light shines so much every day. Like when I say that you're a message that you write to me on social media, and I feel it to my heart. Before today, us meeting, on a Zoom call, but I felt your energy and positivity. And every day in the morning when I feel sometimes like just giving up, it's life's hard and we're trying to all get through
Mhm.
these things that we're going through. And sometimes just a kind word from somebody, or knowing that you're not alone, that
Mhm.
somebody is there walking through it with you, and seeing somebody get through it, if I can do this too, is just such a powerful feeling.
Thank you. That is so beautiful. And it's proof that I'm truly living my purpose. I truly, truly believe that, for instance, social media is more than just the like comments on posts. It's about reaching out and building those genuine friendships and connections. It's not about judging, it's not about comparing, it's about building each other up. Because the truth is, there is enough at the top for all of us. And I truly believe if we as women start to link arms and better support each other, we can change the whole world. I truly believe that.
I agree. I 100% agree. And, you just see so much hatred and anger and division online. And it's just, sometimes it's like, okay, I just have to get away from this. It's like, this
Mhm.
isn't, this isn't what I sign up for. I know that I do a lot of work through my business online, but sometimes I feel like some days it's so overwhelming. I try to stay away. And then it's the little pearls that come through. And it is the people that we connect with that are such beautiful souls, and that, that can be life changing. And I know it
Mhm.
might even sound silly and stupid that a comment on a post can make you feel, but it really can change the trajectory of your whole day. One positive thought in the morning, one positive, I am worth it. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am doing great work and helping people every day. I think that that's so, it's just so powerful. It really truly is. And the work that you're doing is just phenomenal because it's, you know, small scale for me, little Courtney Chicoletti who gets your message and you make me just feel a good little energy and I feel like great, let's go. But to all of these women who have suffered loss, the death of children, the loss of pregnancies, and and going through the things that you've gone through, abuse, rape, all of it, it's I can't imagine that and women turning to somebody for help and what you're doing to help guide them and help know and just guide them through it and talk about it and being an open book about it because like you said, you know, you were raped and you didn't even tell anybody because people made you made you feel like a liar. No way, they didn't believe you. And it was like, well, who's going to believe me? I'm not even worth talking about this because it's nobody's going to believe me again. This is silly. And then you can get in the spiral very easily. You can get in that depression and that funk very easily.
Some of the questions I often get asked is like, how did you get here where you are after experiencing rape and abuse and finding your son and the miscarriage and everything? You know, one of the biggest things for me, and I think a lot of women struggle with this, is asking for help, especially with me being a military spouse. And we move every 2 years. We've moved 9 times in the last 12 years. I am constantly starting over. I'm constantly rebuilding a community, but I love it in the sense that every time I move, I get to start a pregnancy and infant loss support group. I get to be an AA sponsor to another woman. I get to really change the world. And so it's vital for women to know that it's okay to ask for help. We're not meant to do this life alone. And another huge thing, yes, I did hit my rock bottom and I coach women because I don't want people to have to hit their rock bottom. I don't want them to get to that point where I would rather not get out of bed each day, or I need another drink, or, you know, or this, or whatever other addiction that we all struggle with. And so not only is it asking for help, but it's changing your mindset. I was so long stuck in that victim mentality. The woe is me. Oh, I lost my baby. Oh, I was raped. And although those are terrible experiences, it really took me shifting my mindset and thinking, holy shit, look what I overcame. Look what I did with my life after experiencing so much trauma. That is when my life totally changed. That is when I started attracting more happiness and more joy and more women in my life that would uplift me instead of bring me down and judge me. It really is a mindset shift.
I believe that 100%. And I think it comes, there's like two parts of that. First of all, what you said about asking for help, right? Where we always put ourselves last as moms, right? It's like we have to get all these other things done and help everybody else. And then we're our own, you know, mental health can start to suffer because we're not taking care of ourselves. We're not doing the daily things that we need to do. And not even just, oh, self-care, but just like you said, getting involved in the community and surrounding yourself with good people and good energy is just such a big component of all of it. And that's what I said. I don't even know how many times I said out loud when I was reading your book, holy shit. Like, you know what? I honestly I that was what came to mind. I don't know how many times because it is it's that mindset that we can get stuck in, and I know I can get in it. I think we all can, right? When things aren't going good, it's kind of like the laws of the universe, right? The law of attraction. And you know, you see something and then you're dwelling on something that might be the negative thing that happened. Then the next thing you know is like, well, the whole day, forget about it, this is going on, and then it just seems like it's one event after another. And I saw in this book where at the end of the night, every night, I hold a rock in my hand, and the practice is to hold a rock or a crystal. I hold a crystal. I hold
The
my
Magic? Are you talking about the book The Magic?
yes,
It's so good. I have it in my nightstand.
so
It
good. It's very
changed
much.
my life. I was going to say this earlier. Every day, I still do it. I start my day and I list off 10 things I'm grateful for. I still do it every single day. And you're right, when we were talking earlier, the way you start your morning affects the entire day that you have. As soon as I put my feet on the ground, have you got to the, where you say thank you? Like you say thank you with each foot. You walk in. I do the same thing too. I love that. And then it's really cool at the end when you, because you physically do it. So you have to think. It's not just like, oh, I'm drifting off to sleep. You pick up the crystal. I do a crystal, and you think about what was the best thing that happened to your day. This book changed my life. It is a huge part of that, and Mirror Work by Louise Hay. Those two books I've read over and over and over again. But yes, if you end your day with like that, I have had like the best dreams, and then I wake up the next day like refreshed and happy and feeling at peace. It is all about the gratitude. Gratitude will change your life, and it's simple. It's not hiring a coach. I know what I charge. I know what my books cost. Like it's free. You can just do it for free, and it's life changing. So start, anyone listening today, if you're like, I don't have the money to buy your book or hire you as a coach, or start gratitude for free.
Free,
Just
for
start
free.
thinking about you're grateful. And it doesn't have to be these massive things. I am grateful that I woke up in a bed today. I am grateful for a roof over my head. I am grateful I have food to eat. I'm grateful to have people in my life that love. It's as simple as that. It will change your life. Change your life.
150%. And I think I even have taken it to that, like, before I feel like before I read The Magic, I would do my morning journal and my gratitude list. But that book took it to the next level because I didn't just write it, I like felt it. I like made sure after I got done writing my 10 things, went back and read each one and I
I do
used all
that
of my
too.
senses to like feel
Oh,
every single one of those things, like not just like, oh, I have
right.
a house over. No, like I am in this warm house. Like this is my space. Like thank you, thank you, thank you. Like each and everything on that list of like, wow. And then the practice with my crystal at night. I use a
So awesome.
16, my abundance crystal. So I
I
use
love
every night.
that. I do love like quartz, love quartz. I love that so much. You know, piggybacking off of that for free healing, another thing I do, which I talked about Louise Hay, like mirror work. You're already doing your skincare or putting your makeup on or brushing your hair or brushing your teeth. Talk to yourself in the mirror. Say, I love you, and put your name in it. I love you, Nicole. I am worthy of success. Whatever you're struggling with, or I am enough, say them to yourself. That's free too. And as you continue to do it, oh, I'll never forget when I finally had that shift saying, I really do love myself, because you're retraining your brain instead of this like fight or flight to really believe it, to really like look into the mirror and believe I am beautiful and I am enough and I am worthy. Start doing those. Do the self affirmations. And at lunch, if you're already doing gratitude in the morning and night, take your lunch time and take 2 or 3 minutes and write down in a journal or in your notes section on your phone. Say the self affirmations too, write them, because eventually your brain, if you mean it and you say it with passion and love, your brain's going to eventually say, holy shit, I do love myself. I do approve of myself. I am pretty badass. Like these are the simple things that you can start the healing journey that you can do. You can start today at no cost. It's amazing.
It is. It's so true. Even when Louise Hay, like I feel like a year ago, if I were to look when I would look in the mirror, some days I would be like tell myself I would love myself, but maybe I wouldn't feel it. But now you
You
better
keep
damn
showing
believe it.
up.
I feel it
Yes.
like it's and this is just even in the past few months from when I read The Magic, it really did shift everything. It was my morning gratitude. It was my exactly what you said, mirror work, looking at myself and really believing like look at all the good things that you do in a day. The crystal practice at the end of the night, you can't but help fall asleep and have amazing dreams, because for anybody that doesn't know what the crystal thing is, you put a rock, a crystal in your hand and you think of the best thing that happened,
Mhm.
and as you're trying to think of the best thing that
You're
happened, you
thinking
just
of a
keep
million other things.
right. You just keep thinking of something better. You're like, well, wait, that
So
happened. Oh my
good.
gosh, I had a great conversation with
So
Nicole.
good.
Oh my gosh, this. And then, like, then you're thinking of, like, if you would have just gone to bed, it would have been like, that was another day. Yeah, I guess whatever. But then you can't help but falling asleep thinking of all the wonderful things, even
Yeah.
just the little tiny things like that cup of coffee was delicious,
Mhm.
and, a conversation with a friend, and just all of it. So you can't help but have all of the wonderful things on your mind as you fall asleep, and the things that you're thinking about and dreaming about in your subconscious that's happening
Mhm.
to just set yourself up for the next day when, like you said, as soon as the feet
It's
touch the ground,
amazing.
like, thank you.
And
So
there still be moments that you get, even on your healing journey, like you get into your head or you have the self doubt or you start questioning things. And those are okay moments as well. I tell all of I probably have 90% of the clients that walk in my front door, the women, not one of them can say what they love about themselves. Because that is one of the first questions I ask. Tell me three things you love about yourself. 90% of them can't name a thing. I don't mean I'm a great mom. Like, what do you love about yourself? 90% of women can't. But that is the beginning of a journey of falling madly in love with yourself, because another thing, that self love will change your life. You have to stop caring what other people think. I get judged on the daily because I do share my story intentionally in books and on social media, because I know every time I post something, someone's going to need to hear it. I'll get a message in my inbox. I needed that today. That's why I do what I do. But that didn't happen until I stopped caring what other people think. I dyed the hair. I wear the glitter. I got all the tattoos because I started learning to love myself. So when you are having those tough days, start thinking about things that you do love about yourself, and remember to ask for help or start journaling. There are so many things that you can do, but you have to walk through the hard to get to the good. I was just talking to a group of my girlfriends last night. It's going to get hard, but if you continue to show up every single day, even on the hard days, your life will change. Show up. It might not be the best day. You might have stubbed your toe or got terrible news or this or that happened, but then show up the next day, and then the next day, and then the next day, and learn to love yourself and learn to love that you are worthy to have the good days and to have a beautiful life. But it all starts in here.
it is. It's the truth. It's just the truth. And I think it's like the whole saying of like your body doesn't know your body doesn't know the difference between reality and your thoughts and your words. So if you keep thinking something or saying something that's negative, that's what's going to happen. The negative is
Exactly.
going
You're
to
going to attract all of that. That's what you're going to attract in your life. Yep,
Yes.
100%.
So keeping the mindset, and on the days where it's hard, just recognizing, finding the gratitude in the little things, finding these little
Yes.
shifts. It's so
Yes.
important. It really is life changing. And I feel like I've been on my own healing journey for the past, gosh, my whole life, I guess, let's be honest. But really trying in the past year of my life, I think was I think I made so many changes, and some of them were very, very hard changes.
Mhm.
And I think I really discovered myself like this. Like 2025 was like
Mhm.
really a year of self-discovery and self-love and self-worthiness. Like self-worth. I never really didn't feel like I didn't have self-worth, but I really took it to the next level of
Mhm.
really knowing it and feeling it and owning it. Like owning it. Like you say, like a queen. Like I I feel like I can walk into a situation that I maybe wouldn't have been able to walk into a year or two ago and handle it without reacting poorly, without feeling like, I can't handle this. Or even going to the anxiety or depression, and not saying that it's perfect, because there's days where
Mhm.
I do feel that, right? There's
Mhm.
days where it happens. There's days where, like you said, you have bad news. Life is life, and it's not perfect. And every day there's going to be things that come
Mhm.
up that we have to learn how to shift our mindset in it, and process it. Don't hold it in, but process it, whether you need to scream, cry, talk about it, vent
Mhm.
about it, but bless and release it and move on, because holding on to it, that doesn't serve
It's
you
so
either.
true. I do share all of my stuff on social media. And I know that's not the place for everyone, but I encourage every single woman that's listening to this right now to reach out to at least one person they know and share their story. Whether it's a family member or a friend or a sister, like whatever it is, reach out to that person and share your story, because I think a lot of women would be surprised how many others have walked a very similar path. It is mind blowing to me. 1 in 4 women have lost a child. 1 in 4. 1 in 4, but nobody's talking about it. And I am determined to be that change. When I started sharing my journey about sobriety, do you know how many people either struggle with an addiction or know someone that has, or that have experienced some kind of abuse, sexual abuse, mental, emotional, physical? There are so many of us out there. So share your story, build those connections. I can't say it enough. We're not meant to do this life alone. So start building that community. Tell one person, one.
I
It's
love
as easy
that.
as that.
I love that, because it's so, I don't know what word to use, empowering. It's so it's so beautiful too when you do share something with somebody. Like you said, sometimes my whole life I suffered with endometriosis and I had fertility issues, and it's been a lifelong thing for me, and I've had my ups and downs over the years. But I can't tell you how many times when I opened up and spoke about it, like I'm in a lot of pain or I could never conceive that second child, that people were like, "Oh my gosh, endometri I thought I was the only one." Like, it's right, like it's not talked about enough, and the
Mhm.
struggles that people have, whether it's pain or whether it's, just pain with cycles, pain with sex, not being able to conceive a child, things that are
Mhm.
just happening to people that, well, this is just the normal, or they're
Mhm.
suffering and sitting in it. And sometimes just talking to somebody and being like, "Oh my gosh, I understand what you're feeling.
Mhm.
I've been there, or I know somebody that's been there too, and I understand you and I feel you." It's just sometimes being seen and heard and
Yeah.
felt is just important, you know?
It's interesting because I grew up in a household where we didn't talk about it. You would just put it in a closet and we didn't talk about it. We were that family. We were at church every Sunday, sitting on the front row with the perfect hair, the perfect dress, and nobody knew what was all the abuse that was happening behind the doors. Nobody knew it. So I grew up thinking, you don't talk about it. But can I tell you how liberating it was the moment I said, F this, I got to talk about it.
I love
I
it.
got to talk about it. And then that's when everything opened for me. There was all these women reaching out, me too, me too, me too. And that's when not only did I see a shift in myself, but I saw a shift in everybody around me. You start to attract what you need to attract when you're ready for it. You have to be ready for that shift. I go back to saying healing's not easy. It is a journey. It is showing up every single day. But when you get to that other side and you look back and you think, holy crap, look what I did. Look what I did. And now I can change the whole damn world. It's amazing. It
It
brings me
is.
so much joy.
It really is, and I love it. And I love that you said it, because even though, I've been on my own healing journey in ways, I've had the endometriosis, found out a lot of this had to do with mold toxicity, that I was in a building and this stuff was building up in my body and I didn't know how it was affecting me in different ways, even down to anxiety and things like that. And when I look at the shifts that I've made along the way, every year, every journey, this past year was that for me. It was that liberating feeling of, I just can't even explain it, of joy, of
It's emotional. It's like all the things you cry, you laugh, you feel, it's all at the same time. And that is you releasing the rest of that baggage. That is where you are finally not just, but you're letting it go. I think women need to know that once you've worked through it, let it go. Let it go. Do the forgiveness. Do all the things you need to do to where you are, but don't get back in that mindset. Let it go.
I think that's a lot of what I was holding on to, guilt and not forgiving myself for the past, divorce, my son
Mhm.
having to go between two houses, and me, holding on to that and seeing how it affected him. And,
Mhm.
you know, I think we hold on to these things, and
Mhm.
and you know, I think over the past year, I really truly learned how to embrace surrender to God, like knowing what I
Mhm.
can control and knowing what I can't
Mhm.
control. I can control my actions and my mindset,
Mhm.
and I can't
Mhm.
control anything
So true.
else. And I can only control how I react to the other things.
Yes.
And when I feel like I really embrace that, that's when everything really changed in my life. And
Mhm.
it was really within the past year, I want to say, that I really made that huge shift. And it's such a feeling, like you said, like,
It's liberating, and it is like you hit it on the dot there. You can't control anyone else. I couldn't control the rape. I couldn't control my son dying. I couldn't control the molestation, the abuse. You can only control yourself. You can only control yourself. It is your mindset or how you feel about yourself or your actions. That is the world is shitty. There are shitty things that happen. But if you remember that you are strong enough to get over it and work through it. It's not really getting over it, it is working through it, because you don't want to minimize the stuff that happened to you, but there is a way to look at it that will change your life. Get out of that victim mentality, get out of being stuck in the past, get up and start doing the work. That's what women need to do. It's not going to be easy, but you're worthy of this. And it all starts with you. I remember that my husband and I, we were on the verge of divorce. My drinking was such a terrible thing. I drank because I lost the children. I drank because we moved all the time. I drank because my husband has always gone with the military. But the moment that I realized that I was ready for that shift, I was ready for that change, I got sober. I got clean. My life changed. So you have to be ready for that. And it really just starts with you talked about small shifts. It doesn't have to be this massive thing. I'm no longer depressed. I no longer am anxious. It's tiny shifts. It's doing little things like gratitude or mirror work or journaling. It starts with that. And you will see when you start looking back, when it feels so little, it's really massive. When you take a moment to look back, it's massive.
And that's what I really look at when I like read The Magic not that long ago again, like, and I look back at the little
Where you
changes
started,
right, every chapter when they tell you to do the little practice, and it's a little practice that's free
mm-hmm,
every day,
mm-hmm.
like, and you just start doing it and it's like, oh, okay. And then I look back now and I think those little things added up to how I feel now inside, and
But
just
you
so
got to
peaceful,
start. That's
right?
the thing, though. You got to start.
Right.
Stop putting it off. Don't say next Monday. Don't say next week, next month, 2027. No, start today. It's little things that you start with today.
100%. So earlier in the conversation, you talked about moving all of the time, being a military wife. So talk about that a little bit. I mean, that actually has to be, I mean, half and half, right? Because like you
Mm-hmm.
said, that's a hard thing. That's a hard thing to do as a wife, as with friends, with family, with the
Mm-hmm.
kids, with everything. I mean, and then like you said, being alone and having to be both people at shifting and constantly changing, you know, but then there being the positive side of like all of these great things that you are doing for women and being an advocate for women who have experienced things similar. And like you said, you have a new group. Like, talk about that. That's just so,
Absolutely.
it's kind
So
of,
my husband has served in the Air Force for 28 years, and it's so funny. After my first divorce due to all the abuse, I met Jeff. My sister was like, "You need to build it on Match.com. Think 13 years ago." And she's like, "You need to build a new profile. You need to meet another person." I was like, "No." After all this abuse, I'm never gonna get married again. Nobody's gonna want. I was pregnant. I had two toddlers. Nobody's gonna want this. And it's funny because when I came across my husband now Jeff's profile, he had, and I was like, no one, they can't be in the military. They can't have, more than one kid. I've already got three, blah, blah, blah. He's got three children. So we are a blended family of eight with six kiddos. He had been in the Air Force for many years before that, but it's kind of like when you know, you know. And so we started dating. It is a hard life. It is not for the faint of heart. It is one of the most challenging things, but you said it correctly. Like, it's been so rewarding to us because I get to show my kids the world. I get to show them all these different cultures and all these different lifestyles and all the beauty of the world. And again, it goes to a mindset shift as well. Instead of like, oh, we have to move again, like, yes, we get to move again. And it has allowed me, I have friends all over. Like, you tell me a state, I've got someone there, which is a beautiful thing because then I can connect other women that way. And it's about building that community as well. I think that I'll never forget when Jeff called me from the Pentagon. He's like, "Guess what? We're moving to Alaska." And I'm like, "Guess what? No, we're not. You're going by yourself because you can just some families geo-batch." And I was like, "I'm just going to keep the kids back in Arlington, Virginia. You're going to go." But it was really cool the moment I started reaching out to other military spouses and reaching out to the spouses here on Eielson Air Force Base in Alaska. I was like, geez, we could really make a difference. We could really change some lives. And so they had never had a pregnancy and infant loss support group. Immediately when we got here, I started making the connections and building that. It was amazing. So every October 15th, which is Pregnancy and Infant Loss Remembrance Day, there's a wave of light. It's a candlelight event that everywhere in the world does it. And so I started that event. I had 25 women show up. And it was amazing knowing I had just moved here in July. And then in October, I had 25 women show up to this event. So it was just a reminder that I'm supposed to be a military spouse. I was just named in 2025 Washington, D.C. Military Spouse of the Year. I just found out I was nominated for 2026 Alaska Military Spouse of the Year. It's just been a journey. I just became the president of the Eielson Spouses Club. And these little things are so amazing to me, and I'm so honored because it means it's more spouses I get to help. It's more lives I get to change. It's more women I get to show. I get it. You move every 2, 3, 4 years, but think of like this beautiful life you can build with that. Look at it as a positive. I am raising children that are going to be so independent and so incredible human beings because they get to see the hard, but they also get to experience the joy in the hard as well.
I love that. And like you said, you just said they're little things and they're not, they're big things. Congratulations.
Thank
Like
you. They
that's
are, but
that's
thank you. It
I
is
know,
pretty big.
so humble, but like they're
Thank
big
you.
things, you know, like you are so well accomplished and
Thank you.
you know, and it's it is a big deal. And
It
like
is.
when I just recorded a podcast earlier this week with my very good friend and you know, and when we got done recording, she said to me, if just one woman listens to this and benefits,
Same.
just one, she's like, I feel like my job is done. And it
Mhm.
was pretty cool. She's an advocate for women's health and she's a doula and she helps, you know, women of all ages. But it was just kind of awesome to just look at it from that perspective. And you're doing a lot more than just helping that one
Oh,
woman. Like,
thank you.
and
I
you're
do feel that in my bones every day before I even put up a Facebook post. That is my platform. I need to get in with the Instagram and all the LinkedIn and Facebook is where where I talk. But I pray to God. I literally say, God, please help me touch one woman with my words. And I swear to you, at least one woman every single time I post or go into my story reaches out to me and says, I needed that today. I feel seen. I feel loved. I feel heard. And that's how I feel too. If one woman picks up my book, if one woman hears this podcast, or that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do, and it's a ripple effect, right? You start that, and I pray to God, I'm encouraging another woman to step up as well, or come in behind me, or whatever the words are. Everywhere I go, I want to leave it for empowering even more military or women or whatever it may be so they can step in that role as well. It again goes back to we're here for each other. We're supposed to be a team. We're supposed to be a community. We're supposed to be lifting each other up. And that is when I feel the most joy when I say, oh my gosh, I helped that lady. By the grace of God, I've been able to overcome so much trauma so I can help. If it's one person, if it's 10 people, it's a million. I feel very blessed to be living my purpose. I can't say it enough. I feel so blessed.
I love it. I just do. I love it. And I think that's an awesome way to kind of wrap up today. Just, you know, always just for everybody, that kind word when you're, I think you say this in your book, you know, when you're in line in the store, hey, your hair looks beautiful. That's
Yes.
a nice dress you have on. Like, like it really does make a difference when you walk out of somewhere smiling. Like it's it is a ripple effect and it's just we need more of that in the world. So having people just embrace that and just kindness, just being there for each other, being a community and the work that you're doing. You know, for everybody listening, in the show notes, we'll have ways to get in touch with Nicole, her social media, all of her books. I am ready to. What's my next one that I need to read? I just got done.
I
I'm
think
reading
you
them
would
backwards.
love Broken Wings, Broken Dreams. I think that is going to hit you at your soul. I think it's
Okay.
something after hearing more of your journey today, I think it's what your soul needs.
Okay, that's my next one. Yes, I read A Queen Saves Herself. For all the listeners, get it. I'll have a link in the show notes, social media, wherever you're hearing this from, YouTube. But get it. You will not be sorry. It's just, it's beautiful. Your story is beautiful. You are beautiful.
Thank
I
you.
thank you for changing my life and changing my
No,
trajectory every morning when I
thank
see
you.
one of your beautiful comments to me every day, not to be dramatic or, oh my gosh, you changed my life, but literally, you give me a good vibe to
Thank
get my
you.
day going every day. So I
That
thank
means
you
more to
for
me
being
than you
you.
know. So thank you so much. That's so beautiful.
Thank you so much for being on. And again, for our listeners, all of the information to get Nicole's books, her information will be in the show notes to check her out. But thank you again, Nicole.
Yes, thank you so much.